Hey, welcome back, I'm Lei. Microsoft occupies every part of our lives. I wrote the script of this video on Microsoft Word, for example. Most thumbnails of this channel are created by PowerPoint presentation. And perhaps most importantly, Windows operating systems still dominate the entire laptop and desktop market. Its market share reaches 90% in 2018. So Microsoft is not going anywhere. But if you think about it, it doesn't seem that way, does it? Microsoft seems to be feeding off of its legacy products, and every time it tries to innovate and compete with Apple and Samsung and Google, it fails miserably. Remember Windows Phone? Well, it's gone now, completely. So every evidence seems to point towards a company in decline, a change of dynasty, if you will. But is that true? Ever since the 1990s, Windows operating system has always been the default operating system in the world of business. Multinational corporations, small and medium enterprises, startups, every company uses Microsoft services because it's the medium for communication. PowerPoint presentations, Excel spreadsheets, they're all necessities of modern corporate lives. But marching into the 21st century, this status quo is no longer unshakable. Google challenges Microsoft in almost every level. Google applications replaced Office software. Android competes with Windows. Microsoft is getting outperformed in almost every business it does. Same competition came from Apple and Samsung. And the new market in China is a different situation altogether with many smaller contenders. One thing is for sure. We're now living in a multipolar world where different companies dominate different sections of markets. Initially, Microsoft wanted to compete in those markets and started making smartphones with Windows operating systems on it. It's called Lumia. Some of you might still even remember it. Microsoft even acquired Nokia in 2014 for $7.9 billion, only to abandon the business completely a year later. However, despite these high-profile failures in the past decades, Microsoft managed to overtake Google in market capitalization just a few days ago to reach almost $800 billion. So it's almost certain Microsoft is not in decline, far from it. The turnaround happened when Satya Nadella was appointed the new CEO of Microsoft in 2014. Of course, I wouldn't attribute the entire transformation of Microsoft's corporate ethos to one man. He is definitely the captain calling the shots. Cloud first, mobile first was his mantra. For Microsoft that has been feeding off its legacy operating systems and its Office products, this change was hard, but what came out of it was worth it. And you don't have to take my word for it, take the statistics from its financial report. In 2014, most income of Microsoft came from licensing of operating systems as well as Office products. But fast forward just 4 years, Microsoft has carved out a big piece of its revenue with its cloud services, 30% to be precise. That's not a small achievement. In Microsoft terms, that's $10 billion. So what on earth is this cloud service, and how does this cloud service make Microsoft so much money? Well, Microsoft Cloud Services is called Azure, and it's a complicated business to talk about. Think about it this way. Most of us use a smartphone with applications on it. Naturally, our data on the application need to be stored somewhere, and traditionally, every company manages their own data centers to provide users with services. However, building your own data center is costly and smaller companies cannot afford it. That's what Azure is for. What Azure does is to take care of the data center so the app builders could build applications remotely. That is also called infrastructure as a service. With as low as $10 per month, any of us could rent a server from Microsoft and start building our websites or applications. That's the beauty of this service. Low cost, highly scalable, hassle-free. Azure also provides platform as a service, software as a service, so on and so forth. This graph summarizes the difference between these services. Depending on the resources at hand, a company can choose to build its own website from scratch. It can also choose to use existing Azure tools instead. For example, Azure provides speech recognition and text translation services. So let's say if you're building a video website, you can use these tools for speech recognition instead of building your own tools. Basically, Azure provides businesses with flexibility. Whatever services you're building, however big your company is, you can use Azure infrastructure. This also explains why Microsoft acquiring Github is such a genius move. Harvard Business Review commented on this acquisition. Microsoft is not paying $7.5 billion for GitHub for its ability to make money. It's paying for the access it gets to the legions of developers who use GitHub's code repository products on a daily basis, so they can be guided into the Microsoft developer environment where the real money is made. Here, the Microsoft developer environment is obviously referring to the Azure ecosystem. GitHub is of strategic value to Microsoft. That's why it's worth $7.5 billion. This also shows Microsoft's commitment for its cloud businesses as its profits from Office and Windows operating systems get slowly eroded away by competitions from Google and Apple. Another example of Microsoft's effort to guide developers to their cloud services is the Microsoft Accelerator program. I had the pleasure to visit one of their facilities in Tel Aviv, Israel when I was working as an investment associate for a VC firm. I was completely blown away by the innovative spirit of Microsoft and how much they're willing to invest in young startups, completely contradictory to my impression of a monopolistic Microsoft. In the Accelerator, Microsoft provides free office spaces as well as further investment opportunities to selected startup companies. This, of course, is yet another example of Microsoft investing in services that does not make money, but rather guide young companies and software engineers to use Microsoft services, Azure to be accurate. When those companies become huge or those talented individuals take up key positions in bigger corporations, they will surely be inclined to use Microsoft Azure. I hope you can see how brilliant this move is now. Overall, Microsoft has positioned itself from a competitor to an enabler. This change of strategy is also obviously paying off. A glimpse at Microsoft's stock price will shock you to say the very least. When Satya Nadella was appointed to be the CEO of Microsoft in 2014, its stock price was $38, and now it's $100, more than doubled its stock price in just 4 years. And Microsoft's rise is not hard to understand either. A company that's dedicated to building a better and more innovative environment should always be rewarded. So Microsoft is definitely not in decline. Quite the contrary. It's now dedicated to helping other companies rise. And I think that's something all of us can get behind. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe this channel if you love this video. If you like what I do on Curious Elephant, definitely follow me at Lay Creatives. Also, if you want to support me, you're welcome to do so on Patreon, as these people did already. As always, I'm Lay. I'll catch you guys later.